Hello, everybody, on this beautiful Friday, or I hope it's a beautiful Friday for you guys. We are back with Deception in Healthcare in America with Kathy Ann and Jennifer, and we are coming to you today with vitamin D3. Most people know it as a vitamin. It is actually a hormone. It's one of those controversial topics. It's kind of out there with some other things out there with the cholesterol and some of that other stuff, which cholesterol and vitamin D, that's kind of all interwoven. Kathy Ann, of course, is here with me today, and we're going to go over some fun facts. We're going to go over some, just let you guys know, like, symptoms of the deficiencies if you have a deficiency and why it's so important to monitor this in your blood work, monitor this level, know what it is. And if it's good, that's fine. Check it once a year. If it's not so good, you might want to start out with 3 months and then check it every 6 months. And I will go ahead and tell you, if you have any autoimmune issues at all, that would be, if you're dealing with Hashimoto's or hypo or hyperthyroidism or any autoimmune issue, type 1 diabetics, that's like guaranteed. You're guaranteed to have it low. So you want to stay on top of that and check that. And over 50% of adults are just deficient anyway. Like they're on the lower end. So, make sure you guys know what your vitamin D is. And I'm going to let Kathy Ann go ahead and kick it off with what she's got for us today.
So I got some fun facts for y'all. So vitamin D is one of the oldest hormones that have been made in the earliest life forms for over 750 million years.
Oh, wow.
And the major function of vitamin D is to maintain calcium balance for proper functioning. And vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin that is naturally present in some foods and from the UV rays from sunlight. So when the sun hits your skin, it triggers the vitamin D synthesis. And approximately 35% of adults in the United States have a vitamin deficiency.
It's a lot. It's up there.
It is.
This was being a little shy, I think, because it is different in everything you look at. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's too many.
And according to data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, most people in the United States consume less than the recommended amounts of vitamin D. And so some of the foods that are naturally present with vitamin D are things like fatty fish, like trout, salmon, tuna, and the fish oils. And it's found in eggs.
Eggs is huge. You can get a lot in your eggs if you guys will just eat eggs. Yes.
And something that I wouldn't eat is beef liver.
Yeah, me either. But I guess you could take the supplement. There are supplements out there.
So if you don't eat any of these foods and if you don't get sunshine, in the United States, we fortify a buttload of stuff with vitamin D. Look at your milk, your cereals, and all that other stuff. They add a synthetic vitamin D to it. Okay, this is pretty interesting. So about sunshine and vitamin D. If 25% of your body is exposed to the sun, like let's say your arms or your face and your legs, 25% of your body is exposed to the sun in the spring and summer, then you only need about 3 or 10 minutes of sun to get the recommended amount of vitamin D. 3 to 10 minutes. In the fall and the winter, if 25% of your skin is exposed, you need about 2 hours of sunlight to get the correct amount of vitamin D. So I think this is totally hilarious. And I was talking with my husband. If let's say 35% of Americans don't get the recommended amount of vitamin D, then they spend less than 10 minutes in the sun.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Percentage of the people, if you properly absorb, if you're not dealing with the autoimmune issue, if you're like with me, I have to take 5,000 IUs daily, and I am outside several hours a day. I walk, I cook outside, and it still doesn't fully absorb. And I'm on the lower optimal end. Mine's like 42, and you want it between 50 and 80. That's optimal. And so I guess it really depends too. That's how much disease and stuff that we have, and a lot of that's reflective of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like kids and stuff, yes. If a kid is deficient, yeah, that's probably the issue. If a young adult, like an adolescent person, but when you start getting into like 30 and 40 and up, and they've got a deficiency, Yeah, it's either that or they don't even properly absorb. They just
Yeah.
don't.
So if you wear sunscreen, you would not properly absorb
Right,
the
right,
sun's rays.
right.
So,
Like my
so
daughter,
yes.
she's 21 and her levels were like 17, and we're actually going to get them checked again. They had not moved at all, so we had to buy we buy a really good brand. It's like third party tested, but it was not absorbing. Like she just not wasn't absorbing it, so we had to buy the sublingual, so the drops that go right into the tongue straight into the bloodstream. So
And
it'll be fun to report what that's going to look like, because we've never used anything like that. That's like very immediate. The pills did nothing. Like she did not move up 1 point at all. And it was weird because I went up like 20. So she just literally is not absorbing it. So you don't know if you don't get blood work, you don't know what's going on. But yeah, the average healthy person, yes, you should easily be able to absorb it, go outside. It doesn't take that much. And the early morning, you'll absorb even more. If you go out when the sun is coming up, like in the first hour of the sunrise, that is the best sunshine.
uh-huh.
And you just absorb it right through your eyes. Your eyes just suck it in.
And that's another thing, sunglasses.
Don't be wearing those sunglasses.
But and I found this out too. The darker your skin, the less you absorb.
Yes. Hispanic, Black, mainly those two, because their skin goes from like pretty medium, probably Indian as well. Anyone with the medium to the darker skin tones absorb less and have, like, I think it's 80% of Blacks have deficiency in vitamin D. And I think it's like 58 or 50 something percent Hispanics. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Their skin is darker because those races of people were supposed to be, we are all misplaced. None of us are from here. So wherever their, people are from, they were brought here, just like us. We were brought from way over there, way from the equator. So our skin, we're lighter, so we can absorb the sunshine.
Because
like
it's
my husband
darker.
Is black.
Yeah.
He's meant to like be closer to the equator over there in Africa somewhere, one of those islands, and he would be, a lobster if he didn't have dark skin, where he is misplaced from. So that's how that works. I've had to explain that to people, and they're like, "Oh, I get it now." It's like, where are your people from? Are they closer to the equator? Or are they further? Like you're Poland and all that stuff, right? Yeah, and I'm over there in Europe, and yeah, so we're white. We're just super white.
Yes.
So we're just ready to soak it in.
So vitamin D also has other roles besides your calcium in your bones. It also helps reduce inflammation, helps process cell growth, immune function, and glucose metabolism.
Huge.
So my insurance does not cover vitamin D testing. Does your insurance?
Yes,
so
it does.
mine will not pay for it. And
really,
it's over $100 to get your vitamin D level checked. So mine will only test if you have a documented disease where vitamin D is crucial.
Well, okay, see, so type 1 diabetes for me, and then my daughter, it would be the Hashimoto's. That's why they paid for it. But
they still won't pay for mine with my Hashimoto's.
It goes anywhere from, I think, 125 to 160. Just like, I don't know. Everybody's different, in the area you live in. But I just looked up a few labs here, and it was anywhere between like 100 and I think 25 to 160, like what you were saying.
Yeah, I think mine was 130.
If you need to know if it's deficient. Like, I mean, you're talking like, okay. So just cancer patients in general, like they go and do all these studies, right? So I was real obsessed with the vitamin D. Like I just really wanted to dive in and learn, because when I found out I was deficient, and then I found out my daughter was so deficient, I'm like, what is going on here? Well, just having an autoimmune disease, it's low. I'm telling you right now. If it's not, then you're in the very early stages of that. Okay. But anyway, my daughter kept having these chronic sinus infections. I mean, she was on her third round of steroids. She was on her third round of antibiotics. We couldn't kick this thing, and ended up finding out her levels were 17. And then actually argued with the doctor. He says, well, I'm not worried about it. It's not like she has rickets or anything. She's young. I'm not worried about it. I had a guy come in here with a level 15 and and he had all these excuses. And I said, well, it's not actually just a vitamin though. It is a hormone. And then we argued about that. I know darn good and well, it's not. It affects all the other hormones in your body. It can throw them off of all your other ones off balance. So imagine what that does. And our entire endocrine system runs on hormones. So if you've got one way down here that's responsible for like regulating your immune system, I mean, that's huge. That's everything. Anyways, after we got that in order, I tell you, she's almost like a brand new person. It does a lot of things, but also if it's low, it can cause depression. So someone can be walking around feeling tired, miserable, just halfway existing, and they're like, what's wrong with me? And there's been plenty of people who got their levels, to 50 and higher, and they're like, oh, I'm back to my old self. And that's how important vitamin D is. So yeah, like people need to know what this is.
Well, I think that's a mistake on the healthcare system because
Yes.
your daughter wasn't taken seriously for her low levels. And by getting her levels up, she was helped. I don't think, out of all the doctors I saw for my injury, one brought up vitamin D, and he was alternative medicine. He wasn't even modern healthcare.
I was fixing to say, you go to holistic healthcare, like what you and I dive more into, that's where you're going to get to the root of things and not covering up the symptom. And that's kind of what our whole channel is about. It's just about addressing the healthcare system and getting back to the basics, like coming right off the foundation of how our bodies function and find the root of things. And this is the root of, oh my gosh, so many things. Many things.
So, and like in your daughter's case, for instance, she wasn't feeling good and they were ready to prescribe an antidepressant, but didn't care about her vitamin D, right?
Right. Except that actually the physician's assistant at the endocrinologist's office, she pulled really hard for that. In fact, they weren't even going to allow the lab to check it. And she happened to come in, and when we talked to her, she said, oh, absolutely. And yes, you are absolutely right. It is a hormone. Doctor came in right behind her and giggled, laughed, and said, I don't know why we checked this when we came back in 3 months later. And it still had not moved, by the way. So that should have been alarming in itself. When you're taking 5,000 IUs every single day. And then after we found that out, I was giving her 5, 10, 5, 10. I alternated 5 and 10,000 units. And it still wasn't working. So now we're doing the sublingual. So that's a red flag. All I'm saying is, if someone is experiencing fatigue and all these things like she was, and the chronic sinus infection, and I mean, they were bad. These put her in the bed. Her face was swollen. Her neck, like the lymph nodes in her neck were huge. It was really terrible. And, she's living in Dallas in a climate where that wasn't helping. She's from a very moist climate down here, but it was just so many things. Like, I mean, she just couldn't function anymore. Like, she's like, hands up. I need help here. Like, this is not working. And very well, the antibiotics just further suppress the immune system. You can't throw 3 antibiotics at somebody in, like, I think it was 3.5 months. She had 3 antibiotics and 3 rounds of steroids, and that stays in your system. I think 6 to 8 months it takes for you to get rid of it. And I think it's something like 60% of people who deal with or have to take 1 round of antibiotics that first year of taking them deal with some form of depression. And it's more so on women. If people want to go read on that. It's just a domino effect of so many things. The hormones control our mood. They just control everything.
So when I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, I am pretty sure I've never got my vitamin D tested. I think it was $130, so I turned it down because insurance didn't pay for it. It didn't come with any of my blood work. But
right.
But yeah, so I was never tested, and I don't know what mine is. I think maybe next time I'll be tested for vitamin D, and because I just want to know the number.
Really important. If it's normal, then I think you're a person who, okay, so when you take that test and you know that it's normal, you see it and you know it's normal, you don't have to question. You don't need to be supplementing. If you're like 50 or up, you don't need to be supplementing. There's no reason for that. Eat your eggs, get your fish, get all these things in your diet. And eggs are amazing. Eggs are packed with it. And there's just no need to supplement. The supplementation where people are just taking it for no reason. You could be taking vitamin D and then it's not even getting activated properly, and you're dumping like calcium. You're getting calcified like areas in your body, like your heart or different places. You don't need that. Don't do that. This is for people who you're deficient or you're severely. And like I said, we fell in the severely. So like I just take now. My maintenance dose is 4,000 IUs, and that's because I have type 1, and I'm probably gonna have to do that the rest of my life. You know what I mean? And I only test every 6 months now. And it just sits there. I'm like 42 to 47. I really probably need a little more. And then if you will take magnesium with it, if you're taking that, you need to at least be taking 200 milligrams of magnesium. Some people need more. Once again, you need to talk with your doctor about that. But like my daughter, like I said, she was doing 5 and 10. We were just going back and forth every other day, and it was doing nothing. And how would we know that? And, I don't know how much more sick she would have gotten, but, and then even after that, the doctor still wants to argue, about all these other elements, outside elements or something. But anyway.
Yeah. So when it was my neuro eye doctor that told me to take vitamin D and magnesium together.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
he said to take it like 30 minutes to an hour before bed because it makes you sleepy.
Hmm.
So, because I was taking melatonin because I couldn't sleep. So he's like, no, 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 quit taking the melatonin, take a
Right.
magnesium and a D together before bed. And
It must
I
have
don't
been
take
magnesium glycinate. Were you doing that
it
form
is,
of glycinate?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
because they're all
magnesium
different.
glycinate.
Like, there's 4 or 5 forms of magnesium. So people need to make sure and look at what you're taking. Glycinate is a good one to take with it, and it's also the most tolerable on the stomach. But yes, glycinate will make you tired. So that was actually really good recommendation he made there. People that take melatonin, you're gonna get rebound. Just leave it alone. Melatonin is meant to be used like if you're having jet lag, you're on a trip where you can't sleep. Y'all leave this stuff alone. This is not melatonin is not should not be supplemented every single day. Like you're going to have a rebound. I have seen it. I've seen it in many women. It is terrible. Take magnesium glycinate. Yeah. That's a really absorbable form actually too. It gets absorbed really well. Like I think it's like 80% of Americans absorb it with no problem. No sickness, no nothing. And then it activates the vitamin D, which you were talking earlier about when you eat these foods that your body is able to what did you
Fat
say, synthesize
fat
it or
soluble.
whatever.
So vitamin D is fat
Right.
soluble, so you have to eat it with something
Right.
what is it?
Fatty.
Fatty.
Eggs, like I take mine in the morning after I eat my breakfast because that's when I always get my eggs or whatever every morning. But the reason why some people are so deficient is a lot of people, I wanted to hit back on that point because people aren't eating whole foods. So that's a lot of reasons why people are deficient in vitamin D as well. They're not eating whole foods. They're getting up eating cereal and donuts and something out of a package. And for lunch, they're eating fast food. And I mean, you're not giving your body a chance. And vitamin D is synthesized in the liver. So you know how many Americans here we go in a circle. You can keep going around and around. Fatty liver. If you have fatty liver, which most Americans do, we even have teenagers and children with it now. And so you're not able to make the vitamin, your body can't make the vitamin D it needs. So it doesn't matter that you go out in the sun. So there you go. I mean, it
That's
just
right.
go round and round and round. Start
That's
with what
right.
you're putting in your mouth.
Right. It's a full circle.
Yes.
So yes.
Starts with your food. Yes. And then
Yes.
it just
Yes.
keeps going. Comes right back to the food. You cannot get away from what you do and don't eat. It does have consequences. Man, I said it. Go get your blood work and you'll see it.
And I actually posed this question to Joel Paul earlier. He's my husband. Okay. So we are the way we are for a reason, right? So the sun's always been here. So we
Mhm.
exist in part because of the sun. And early humans got their vitamin D from the sun mainly, and then
Mhm.
probably from eating animals, fish. So if the sun is so poisonous to humanity and we have to block it
Right.
out, then why do we need vitamin D that comes from the sun? So I
Mhm.
posed this to him and I said, okay, so by design, we need the sunshine to make vitamin D. And he actually said something I didn't even think of. He goes, humans mess everything up. With all this industrialization, we pollute the earth, and now our ozone layer is being depleted. So the
Mhm.
sun's rays are stronger than they were,
Mhm.
500 years ago, 1,000 years ago.
Probably even 100
And
years
so,
ago. Yeah.
yeah. And so now we block it with sunglasses and
Sunscreen
sunscreen and our
and driving our
hats,
cars with the window
tint,
tint. Yep.
tinted windows. So that was just the question I posed. If the sun is so poisonous, why are we designed to need it? And that was what he said. He says the humans just mess everything up.
They do. They definitely do. We definitely do.
So yeah, sometimes it's just best to go back to basics. Sunshine in the morning. Yes, and
And
again, we're
no
not doctors.
sunshades. Go take a walk. Leave the sunshades at home. Okay? Leave them at home.
That's hard to do. I'm a major sunglasses wearer,
I
but
know you like them.
I do.
My
But
husband wears them 24/7. He steps outside the door. He's got them on. He'll be in the store and forget. And I'll say, babe, your sunglasses. He's like, oh. And he kind of takes them off. Wraps around the back of his head on his hat. But It's like, they annoy me. Like, they have annoyed me tremendously since I was a kid. Like, they will kind of ramp up a headache. Like, I have issues, like a sensory issue, like different things. Just really, just like I can literally work up a headache just being annoyed by seeing, smelling, or hearing, or like even tasting something. And sunglasses has always been one of those for me. Strange enough, I love them. I buy them and I will wear them, but it's like I hate these things, and I just want to take them. I just want to just crunch them with my foot. I just hate them. I don't like them. I don't like anything about them. But I do wear them like when I'm on a boat, or I wear them when we're fishing, or I wear them when I'm riding four wheelers and our motorcycles and stuff because, well, bugs just get right in your eye. It's going back to what your husband said, which is that's 100% correct. Yes, the sun is much stronger, so you're not dealing with the same sun that they dealt with 100, 2, 3, 400 years ago. But now, if you come out like before that sun is just like, oh my God, blinding. Yeah, now that's different. We probably do need to protect our eyes. But if you're out in the morning hours or the late evenings, take those sunglasses off. But you think about it, like you said, vitamin D, it promotes two things, two major things. Of all the list of things we said, immune system and mood, that's everything. What else
Yeah.
are we? What else are we? If we don't talk about anything else, we have an immune system, which allows us to thrive, right? And exist.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a mood, our mood, which that covers a lot of things, but what are you without an immune system and a mood? What are you without optimal mood and optimal immune system? What quality of life do you have? And the sun brings you all these things. Vitamin D brings you all these things. Like, once again, it's a little wheel of goodness. You have to feed it. You have to cultivate it and understand it and go back to the foundation. Know what your vitamin levels are. If they're good, that's great. Go outside and get some more sun. Eat these foods we're talking about. Quit going down there and buying vitamins. And most of them are garbage, you guys. Make sure it's third-party testing. There's quite a few brands out there, but make sure you do third-party testing. You're just taking, I don't know, a bunch of, they put a bunch of vegetable glycerin and all this crap in there, and you're
Yeah.
not really getting anything,
Cellular.
I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you. And then, you're going to pay a little more. And then if you want to go sublingual, they're great. Like, I'm telling you, I love the sublingual. I had never even thought about it until my daughter was having such a hard time absorbing, like she wasn't getting anything. The sublingual is pretty potent. I'm loving it. In fact, I went from 4,000 I used to 2 because it is, yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff. It's good stuff.
So the message to take away is you have to be your own advocate because
Mm-hmm.
not very many doctors are going to test your D levels without you
You're
mentioning
gonna
it,
have to
number one.
ask.
You're going to have
You're
to
done
ask.
unless you're seeing a
And
holistic type person, or like you said. And if you do have an autoimmune issue, and you have insurance, this should be paid for. Just go in and don't be aggressive, but just be a little more pushy about it and say, look, I really want to get this checked. Like, I feel like something's off and I'm requesting this. I would really like to run this in my labs. And I'm not even really sure they can deny you. They may try to give you an excuse, but I know I kind of had to kind of go back and forth with my doctor on it, but he did check it. And he was very wrong. I wasn't even expecting a number that low. Like, I don't know. I just didn't feel like I'm outside all the time. I'm like you. I'd rather be outside than inside. If it wasn't so humid, like I'm working on an outdoor cooking station right now. I'd rather cook outside. I'd rather do everything outside. I love it outside. So it's like,
yeah.
it's like I was completely like, I was flabbergasted. I can't even think of another word right now, but just to see my levels come back at a 17, that,
Yeah.
yeah, that was alarming for sure.
Yeah. And you eat a lot of eggs too. I eat a good amount
Every
and
day, at least 6
I eat
at
salmon and
least.
tuna. Yeah. So that's surprising.
And fish. I eat fish 2 or 3 times a
Yeah.
week. We do fish around here. We live near the Gulf of Mexico, so we're always getting fish of some sort. We go get fresh fish. Yogurt. It's in yogurt too. And like, I'm not gonna eat beef liver. I know at one time I was buying these beef liver supplements, and you could just taste it, like it had a really bad taste. It would get stuck in your throat, and it was just the worst thing. I couldn't handle it, but I did try that for a while. But anyway, I think I was trying to say earlier, there was one really big thing. If nothing else I know the C word gets people's attention. People with cancer, hands down, you go and check their vitamin D levels suffer, period. This is in cancer, people with cancer, period. They experience low vitamin D. This should tell people something. And then so like during COVID, I was reading when I was reading, I stumbled upon some stuff where people that died or people that were hospitalized, or like I'm talking about the sickest people, when they tested all their stuff, they would run pages and pages of labs. Like, my husband was one of those in there. They almost tried to put him on a ventilator. I was looking at his stuff the other day. He had a paperwork this thick of just labs. They had to run everything in his body. He was in sepsis, all of it. Vitamin D levels tanked. They found this in every COVID patient across the board. This is how important your vitamin D levels are. So when you get sick, when you have to face a challenge, you want those levels optimal. You want them up there to give you a fighting chance, because these levels are found really low and depleted in people with cancer, type 2 diabetes, multiple sclerosis, type 1 diabetes, people that had suffered COVID, like in the middle of it, cancer. Go look it up. I'm not just, talking here. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but you need to know what your vitamin D levels are, because we're all going to get sick, or we're all going to need our immune system to be working on our behalf at some point, and you need to know what they are. And if it's not being absorbed properly and being made, and your liver's not making this stuff, you need to figure out why. And you need to check into your liver next. If you're not absorbing or making this right, you need to look at your liver. A lot of people just have fatty liver and they have no idea. Some people have no symptoms for a long time. Really long time. I know, sorry, it's a lot. I'm pretty passionate about this stuff. I get started and I just keep going. Being a nutritionist, I see people like just food. I just keep going back to that one statement you made. Like, if you talked about that and nothing else, you got to start with the food, because if you don't, you're going to be deficient in other things too. But it's just going to come right back around to the food. Do that first. Do the simple stuff. Just do that. Like, we're not trash cans. So you need to find out what people, I sit back and watch them. They don't do this to anything else. They don't do this to their car, their four-wheeler, their little motorized scooter with the gas scooter. They don't do this to their golf carts that run by gas. They don't go and just buy the shittiest gas they can find, or just go grab a bunch of sludge and pour it in there. They're like, oh, it needs this or it won't run properly. It's like, your body is the same way. It's going to start breaking down. And yes, some people just have better genetics. They do. They just have a better genetic disposition than some people. They start out better. It's like being rich. Some people start out with more money, but if you don't handle it right, you're going to lose it. You just are. It's not gonna keep working for you. It's gonna start breaking down and malfunctioning. And you're like, oh my God, what's wrong? I need to go to the doctor. And they give you a pill, and then you're like, oh my God, I feel worse. And you go back to the doctor, and they're like, well, I'll give you a pill for that. Oh my God, now I've got this. And it's like, I'm sorry, but it's just, it's wild. It's like, just start in the beginning before things get out of hand. You know what I mean? So
I do know what you mean. But yeah, that is vitamin D for you. It's something Jennifer is very passionate about, and it is vital. You can get it by sunshine, fatty fish, beef liver, eggs. Add those to your diet. Get yourself tested. See what your levels are.
Yes.
And
vitamin D activates cholesterol, which is made in your liver, and then is sent to your that is your cell. You have got to have cholesterol in the cell. The mitochondrial function, it's got cholesterol in there, and that is essential to life. So once again, you come back to vitamin D. So guys, get your vitamin D. Make sure you're getting your vitamin D. Eat your eggs. They're not going to kill you or give you a heart attack. And eat the yolk. I don't want to hear about you eating the whites. You can add whites to it if maybe some people just don't like the taste. Get your yolks, okay? Eat them.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to our podcast on vitamin D. We hope you learned something. We're not doctors. We're just real people who are fed up with being fed garbage, and we just want to tell the truth. So
yes, and the disclaimer is we are definitely not practicing healthcare physicians of any kind. We literally are just giving you life experiences we've had or seen, and you guys need to always check with your doctor first. Always make decisions about any supplements based off of your labs and in partner with your doctor. Don't ever just listen to anyone on a social media platform, please. I have really seen that get people hurt and hospitalized, and sometimes just feeling bad, and they think they're doing something good. So labs and check with your doctor, period. That's my
all right.
That's mine.
All right, guys, we'll see you again with a different topic.